The scope of counterfeit documents in California is wide-ranging. It affects everybody in every walk of life, from people assuming your identity using counterfeit documents to people purchasing and or selling vehicles on counterfeit documents. We have vehicles crossing the border in and out of the United States on bad documents. And so people are, with impunity, pass off these bad titles, bad registration slips, counterfeit IDs to our businesses, our merchants, our insurance companies, and it allows the cycle of crime to continue on and on and on.
This isn't just an ABC issue. We're not just talking about persons under the age of 21 trying to sneak into a bar. There are narcotics traffickers. Certainly terrorism is a big hot-button issue today, as well as human trafficking.
Just recently, one of the offices in the state of California for DMV arrested a person who had been on the run for over 20 years for a homicide that he had committed, and he actually took his own friend's identity and created false documents so that he could continue to work and live in the state of California during this process.
One of the operations that our department was involved in was Operation Block Island, which was a allied agency assist to Department of Homeland Security down at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. We determined that there was a black market that had been created for driver's licenses, ID cards, social security cards, and birth documents and other breeder documents. This operation resulted in 141 arrests. Most of the suspects that were arrested were charged with multiple felonies.
Counterfeit documents are a major source of revenue for a lot of the local gangs, especially in the MacArthur Park area within Los Angeles. The gangs are making about $100,000 a month from these document sales. They use it to buy weapons, narcotics, and fund all their other criminal activities. Unlike regular businesses, the document sellers that are out on the streets don't care about who they're selling to. They could be selling it to a local gang member, they could be selling it to another criminal, to a guy coming across the border for work, or also the terrorists. In fact, 7 of the terrorists that were involved in the 9/11 incident had fake IDs.
In recent years, counterfeiting technology has made giant leaps and bounds. And in terms of law enforcement, we are either on the train or under it when it comes to keeping pace with those advances in technology. And it is incumbent upon every law enforcement officer in the field who has the potential to be presented one of these documents to educate themselves on the security features and the ambient technology.
Anytime anybody presents a false document or a counterfeit document, it's a good indication that they're involved in current criminal activity. There's some past criminal activity that they're trying to escape from, or there's some future criminal activity that they're going to be involved in. And that should be a cue for the officer, and anytime an officer makes contact with somebody who has these documents, that their safety could be in danger.
You need to know who the person is that you're contacting. We've dealt with a number of cases or instances where parolees, child molesters, or felons have been in possession of counterfeit or fraudulent documents which purport them to be somebody else. Recently in Oakland, there was an instance where a subject was stopped on a traffic stop. He showed false identification to Oakland police officers, and unfortunately that resulted in the death of 4 Oakland cops.
Welcome to the post-telecourse on identifying fraudulent and counterfeit government documents. As you've already seen, a bogus ID can lead to a lot more than just underage drinking. See if you can answer these questions about fraudulent and counterfeit government documents. What's the difference between a fraudulent and counterfeit document? What is a breeder document? What tools can be used to identify security features on government documents? What is the proper usage of a dealer's plate? What types of federal identification can be used to establish legal presence in the U.S.? We'll answer all those questions and more in this introduction and the following segments. Resources and databases, counterfeiting, California driver's licenses and ID cards, California vehicle documents, bordering state documents, federal and international documents, and a wrap-up segment. Let's start by defining our terminology.
For our purposes, questionable documents can be categorized into 3 classifications: counterfeit documents, fraudulently obtained documents, and altered documents. A counterfeit document is a document that has been manufactured by a non-government entity for the purposes of imitating a valid government document. A fraudulently obtained document is a valid government document that has been issued by a governmental entity. However, there's some information on that document that is false. This occurs when the applicant submits false information and it is subsequently processed. The last category is an altered document. That is a valid government document with accurate information. For some reason, the information is subsequently altered by a subject or suspect. Breeder documents are documents used by individuals to gain other government identification or to gain other government benefits. These include the birth certificate and Social Security card. The Social Security card is actually fairly easy to counterfeit. Has some security features in it, but it doesn't have a picture or thumbprint or anything like that to compare. Birth certificate within the United States is a little bit harder and harder to get a hold of, but it still is possible. One example of such is from Puerto Rico. While it's not part of the main body of the United States, it still is the United States territory. And unfortunately, in Puerto Rico, Social Security cards and birth certificates are required by the Department of Education to be kept on school grounds. So there are multiple reports of people breaking into these schools, stealing these documents, sending them back to the mainland United States, and then in turn selling these documents to immigrants around the country.
A birth certificate is a good document to start the process of obtaining other official government documents. One way that it's done is by purchasing a birth certificate from Puerto Rico, an original one, and could be presented to the Social Security Administration to obtain a Social Security card and therefore a number given to that name. Once the Social Security card arrives, you can go to a DMV office, take in your birth certificate and the Social Security card, and apply for a driver's license or identification card. With that, you can go to the closest post office and apply for a passport, and in a few weeks, you will have a passport, therefore ready to commit any crimes that you are planning on doing.
Every agency is different. Your department's resources and protocols are going to determine if you will handle an investigation regarding fraudulent documents or counterfeit documents as a patrol officer. Some departments you may. Other departments, you may have to hand off your investigation to your department's detectives after conducting your preliminary investigation. Or in certain cases, the entire investigation may be handed to a different law enforcement organization.
You'll be given several very handy phone numbers in this segment. Make a note of them or store them in your cell phone as you see them on screen.
As you know, we have some training this morning on detecting fraudulent documents. With us from the DMV is Carlos Moreno. Carlos?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, gentlemen. How many of you prior to this training today knew that DMV investigators existed? Okay, a couple of you. I, like many of you, did not know that investigators existed until I was in a lineup situation. DMV investigators derive their peace officer powers from the Penal Code, 830.3C Charles, and from the Vehicle Code, 1655.
DMV investigators handle or assist with many types of investigations, including identity theft, auto theft, counterfeiting, odometer fraud, disabled placard misuse, dealer and unlicensed dealer investigations, as well as providing fraudulent document detection training.
The investigations division is broken into 3 regions, and they are staffed with approximately 250 sworn investigators throughout the state.
One of the resources that's available to you is our DMV Justice and Government Liaison Unit. They provide directory assistance to law enforcement officers, and the only thing you'll need to provide is your county requester code, your agency requester code, so that they can verify that they are indeed talking to a law enforcement officer or agency. So that liaison unit will take you. If you're not sure where to go, you can call them, and they will route you to one of the divisions that you may need to talk to. If it's registration or if it's ID cards or driver's licenses, they will route you. There's also a specific phone number for the driver's license and ID units. And through the DL and ID unit, primarily what you'll be able to obtain are the Soundex photos. And that document is going to contain the thumbprint, the photo, signature. It's going to look a lot like a driver's license, and it's going to have much more information in addition to the information that's on the driver's license. Yes, sir?
What's the difference between the Soundex that we'd order through the hotline versus what we can pull up in our local database?
Well, the main difference is going to be that through your local database, you're probably only going to get the most current photo, whereas through our liaison unit, you're going to get all of the photos associated with that record. One of the other pieces of information that you can get through the liaison unit is going to be what's called a DL44 application. That's essentially an application that goes with the driver's license or ID card. And that document is extremely valuable because it's going to contain all the personal information of the individual that's applying for the driver's license or ID card. And it's also going to help you make a case against them for identity theft, because that document contains a penalty of perjury statement. So the individual signing under penalty of perjury that the information they're providing is true and correct. The liaison unit will also help interpret certain codes as they relate to the driver's license and ID card. Sometimes you run a record and it might come back that it's unavailable to you, and it'll give a reason or a code. Oftentimes you need to contact Sacramento, the liaison unit, to find out what those codes mean. So they'll help you interpret a lot of those codes. You can contact the liaison unit and they will do what's called an address check. Let's say you have a house where multiple people are receiving driver's license or ID cards, or utilizing it as a place to drop information. You can get that information through our liaison unit, and they'll provide you with all of the records that are associated with that specific address.
In addition to driver's license information, the public law enforcement counter provides vehicle registration information. They can provide information to the field officer pertaining to vehicle registration, license plate assignment, dealer plate assignment, when a vehicle was transferred, when the vehicle ownership certificate was issued. In addition, we can verify the proof of insurance, the validity of a TOP or temporary operating permit. We can also provide information to assist the officer in interpreting the DL registration printouts and the various codes on the printout.
They also provide training upon request of the agencies. They will come to the agency and provide them training with using CLETs to access our database systems to get a more proper look at the fields.
Another resource available to law enforcement officers in California is the Occupational Licensing Unit. This unit, located in Sacramento headquarters, is responsible for licensing our licensees, such as driver's license, schools, dealers, vehicle verifiers, dismantlers. So in the course of your investigations, if you have a question regarding a dealer plate, you can contact this unit. If they'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
The California Department of Justice maintains databases that officers could utilize in order to determine the true identity of an individual that has presented you with either a fraudulent or a counterfeit document. Two of the best databases that can be utilized by officers in the street are CalPhoto and CalGangs. CalPhoto is an internet database. In this database, you have photographs that are current of every individual who has a California driver's license. It will actually give you their physical descriptions and the location where they got that license. Many counties, such as Los Angeles and San Bernardino, have given CalPhoto their booking photographs. These photographs have been linked on CalPhoto to the DMV photographs. Using these photographs, you can compare photographs to the individual you're dealing with in order to get that positive identification.
Oftentimes, you may come across someone that's obtained a driver's license or ID card fraudulently. So when you run that database, you're expecting to see one person, and in fact someone else pops up because they've hopped on someone's record. So in that case, you would need to order the Soundexes to determine all the photos that are associated with that record. You may have, as many as 2 or 3 that pop up on a specific record.
The CalGang system was developed about 10 years ago. It's a database that allows officers in the field to track down gang members or their associates of local gangs in their jurisdiction in both California and parts of Nevada. The database system allows law enforcement to access information on local gang members, such as information on their names, addresses, associates, criminal gang activity, criminal history, vehicles associated. One of the unique features that CalGang has, among other databases, is that it allows individual officers to input the information and update information on local gang members. Information such as local stops, recent criminal activity, new names, new monikers, maybe a change in gangs, something that's not really done with any other database. It also assists other local law enforcement to access that information versus other, what we call the old school type of indexing, where local jurisdictions will only have information on their local gangs, and it was sometimes a problem to actually maintain or share that relationship with another agency. In this case, it's all automated by way of CalGangs in this computer system, which makes it a lot easier to combat crime as it relates to gangs. The only officers that can access CalGangs are those who have been trained in the CalGang system. They have to go through a 3-day course and actually take an examination, pass that examination before they're given a password to access the system. It is on a need-to-know basis, and they must adhere to strict policy and procedure when using this type of system.
One of the best tools that CalGang offers, which I have utilized myself in the past to help identify individuals who are being deceitful about their true identity, is their facial recognition technology search engine. If you as an officer have a photograph of that individual who's giving you a deceitful name or providing you with counterfeit or fraudulent documents, you could take that photograph, be it off of the fake license, be it a photograph you take in the field, enter that into CalGang, and then run that photograph against every other photograph of known gang members or associate gang members in CalGang in order to get an identification of your subject. It is user-friendly, and it is a very useful tool that all officers can utilize.
In regards to fraudulent documents or altered documents, counterfeit documents, when you find someone in the field or encounter someone in the field that has these documents, and so you have their fake name and you have these false documents, you want to find out who they really are. So what you do is you take them back to the station, you fingerprint them, you Cal ID them. By Cal IDing them, their fingerprints are sent to the local county office, and that county office is able to compare those fingerprints against Department of Justice prints and find out who that person is. From there, you're able to find out their criminal history, who they are, and any warrants that may have been attached to them.
Parole leads, which also means law enforcement automated processing data, is a software system that was developed in 1995 for the purpose of tracking parolees that are governed by the state of California.
Some of the information that you can access through parole leads is the commitment offense of the subject that's on parole, obviously their name, date of birth, where they work, where they live, previous addresses, the parole agent that's in charge of that parolee, moniker information, tattoo information. The information is in there while they're on parole, state parole, and it's also maintained 1 year after their discharge. Also, it will tell you if a subject is on active or passive GPS. And what that means is they are being monitored, sometimes in real time, if it's active. And that subject, through parole, you can contact the parole agent. They have access to this screen, and they can tell you where that subject is in real-time information.
One of the unique features about parole leads that it allows the local law enforcement officer to look up a subject on specific fields. What I mean by that is that if we're looking for a sexual offender with a tattoo of an eagle on his right arm, local law enforcement officers can input that information onto the system, and within seconds, that information will be spit out with several people matching that description, which is a valuable tool in identifying suspects and or wanted persons. Parole leads, again, is on a need-to-know basis and can only be accessed by those who are actually in the system who've completed a parole leads course and must adhere by strict policy and procedure.
Another valuable resource that can be used is the NLIT system. This is the National Law Enforcement Telecommunication System, and it's the national version of our CLET system. Through NLITs, you can run out-of-state driver's licenses, you can run out-of-state boat registration, vehicle registration, but it also gives you a few other tools. In particular, you can run a subject through the Department of Homeland Security, and through that you can find out any federal wants or terrorist activity that may be attached to that person.
An officer could use NLITs in order to check parole, probation, or sexual offender registrant information across state lines. By utilizing NLITs, the officer will have access to all DMV photographs throughout the United States. Just imagine that database and that source of information when you're trying to identify a person in the field.
As you're conducting investigations related to identity theft, there's a number of other agencies that you may want to look at to contact to help you in that process. The Office of Inspector General, which is going to be things that deal with the mail. Social Security Administration Office, which is, they often have great information if you contact one of their investigators.
In addition, state and local officials can contact the local Immigration Customs Enforcement duty agent to gain assistance with regards to the alienage of a particular subject that they have in the field. Unfortunately, though, there are not too many duty agents at any one time. So if it's something that's on the extreme end, somebody who's a violent criminal, that's whenever it would be a good idea to call the local duty agent.
For field assistance, agencies located in the southern region of California, particularly Orange, Riverside, San Diego, and Imperial counties, can also contact the nearest Border Patrol station or Border Patrol dispatch.
Additionally, ABC investigators can be a good resource as we deal with persons in possession of counterfeit IDs constantly. Officers can contact local ABC district office if they want to set up a doorman operation, whereby we can assist them in working as doormen in front of ABC licensed establishments. I've noticed that in my experience, the State Department has been a very valuable resource for fraudulent documents, especially passports. Additionally, in San Diego, in my experience, the Naval Criminal Investigative Services have assisted us greatly with counterfeit, fraudulent, or altered military documents.
The Arizona Department of Transportation Office of the Inspector General can assist in investigations by providing information through one of our investigative sections. We have sections for fraud documents, fraudulent driver's license, dealer investigations, and we also have an internal affairs unit. In addition, we also have a separate title fraud division.
The Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles is more than happy to help any outside law enforcement agency from across the country. We can access all our records through our division via request from email, fax, telephone. Upon verification of the requester, all information is available for criminal investigations. If the subject is from the northern region of Nevada, the Reno office would be the best office to contact, whereas if the subject is from the southern part of Nevada, Las Vegas, Henderson area, Las Vegas would be the best office to contact.
The Oregon Department of Motor Vehicles Fraud Prevention Section can be a resource to California police officers. We can provide information in dealing with Oregon driver's licenses, identification cards, Oregon titles, and registration documents.
In addition to those resources, there are some simple tools that will help you anytime you examine a driver's license or ID card. The first is a 10-power magnifier that will allow you to check for microprinting not visible to the naked eye. Next is a pocket-sized black light, which will reveal UV features present on licenses and IDs.
These are tools that are small. You can carry them around in your car, in your posse box. They're readily available, and they really give you the ability to verify licenses on the spot.
Counterfeiting, as you can see by the items I've displayed on your desk, the driver's licenses and ID cards, is an area that is going to be extremely important to you when you conduct a field interview or a stop on an individual.
It doesn't take much money to create a manufacturing mill for the purpose of creating fraudulent documents. A trip to your local hardware store or computer store can get you a computer, a scanner. The only thing that you would need to get on the underground would be a program with the templates of the different type of IDs that need to be manufactured and the laminate plastic sheets that bear the state logos or the government logos that you wish to put on those cards.
And within any counterfeiting organization, there's certain items that you will expect to see or that are indicative of counterfeiting. And some of those items could be laminate or laminate materials, card stock, which are used to represent the back of the California or driver's license or ID card. We have corner cutters, which are used to shape the document to give the appearance of the actual document. We have window tinting, which is used to give a certain appeal to it or to do the magnetic strip on the back of it. We have laminators, which are utilized to laminate the driver's license or to apply certain insignias onto it. We have butterfly laminates, which are just a certain type of laminate. It's pre-made to set a card into it and laminate on top of it. Cameras, a lot of times you'll see digital cameras to utilize to take the driver's license photo itself. You'll see color backdrops, similar to you would see in a Photoshop. They usually have a screen that looks very similar to the one we use on the California driver's license. You'll see a computer, usually a laptop. More times than not, they'll have a pre-formatted backdrop on there that looks like the California driver's license so they can insert the photo into it. You'll see printers. They have to print out the document so they can apply it to the backdrop or to the card stock. And you'll see government seals in the form of either a laminate or actual insignias on the laptop, which are used to apply to the document to give it a more authentic look.
Recently, we found sophisticated labs in California that actually are producing documents of a counterfeit nature that are much larger than just the scope of a California ID or a resident alien card, where the subjects are making cards for other countries, other states throughout the South America region and the North America region. This is a great concern to us because that means that these subjects are producing identities and fictitious documents that can be produced in the United States that many people won't recognize or know if they're valid, and oftentimes there's no way to determine if those cards are actually valid.
The more current counterfeiting operations are the high-tech. Kids are more high-tech these days. They make a more high-tech product. So it's very common now when we see these counterfeit laboratories to see card readers or encoders. They do a full-service product, encode the front and back. You'll see smart cards, flash drives to maintain the material so that because they're mobile. You'll see the more high-tech card printers. They're more of a dedicated printer just to manufacture cards like you'll see at Costco or at most health clubs. You'll see dye sublimation printers, which will give you produce the laminates for you with a glossy gold effect to it. You'll see fluorescent dye powders, which is a material that's utilized to put into the printer to give it the laminate, the gold effect to it. Very high-tech process. You'll see scanners and copiers now, which do create the document, or they'll take an existing document, scan it into it, and just add a photo to it. You'll see P&O sheets. They're very good at keeping track of what money is coming in and what's going out, making sure that each customer is paying the price for what they're purchasing. Usually they have a couple of good samples they use to display what they're capable of producing.
Keep in mind that counterfeits are but one type of illegal document to look out for. The others being real documents that are fraudulently obtained or used and real docs that are altered. Counterfeit docs can fall into several categories, the first being good paper with bad info.
It's not that uncommon to find out that a truckload of paper stock for titles or birth certificates was stolen. They utilize those documents and they generate a new document with bad information, but it has all the good earmarks of good paper on it. All the security features are present on that bad document.
The second category is bad paper with good info.
Bad paper with good info is basically a counterfeited document where they've taken someone's true information via identity theft or other resources and placed that information onto these documents. We've investigated many cases where employees of companies that were good companies but bad employees would come in, and those bad employees would steal that information and go to a vendor where they had the counterfeit paperwork that wasn't correct and utilize other people's identities to put onto that paperwork, and it would appear to be legitimate if it was checked by other parties.
Similar to bad paper with good info is bad paper with bad info, where the information is bad either to deceive or because good information couldn't be obtained. And the last category would be good paper with good info, if someone just wanted to make a counterfeit duplicate of a real document. Figuring out which category you're dealing with can help you determine how best to proceed.
Right, officers in the field may occasionally encounter an individual in possession of numerous valid identification documents. It's important to understand that that person may not be a person trafficking in illegal documents, but rather trafficking in humans. and there may be someone in this country under duress on the other end of that document.
These people, whenever they bring somebody across the border, will actually take these documents from the people either as collateral for payment, for transport to the United States, as in the case of the smugglers, as in the case of the human traffickers. They'll take these documents to hinder the assimilation of the individuals into the country.
Similar to other organized crime, most ID counterfeiting operations have specialized roles. On the bottom rung of the organizational chart is the street dealer, who is the only person in the organization most buyers will come in contact with. The dealer has samples of his wares and negotiates the terms of the deal. Usually, helping the street dealer will be a lookout.
Usually there's somebody that are in that location for another legitimate reason. Some document vendors will do the vending out of the parking lot of a bank. So a lookout might be the security guard that's watching over the bank. They'll get paid a little bit for what they do, not that much, it's just a little extra income for them. And they're not really a part of the organization.
The dealer will take the customer to a particular photo shop.
And the reason is because they've made some type of agreement with that photo processing company to make sure that the photos that are to be taken are exactly those of the way a government document would be taken, whether it's a federal document where the face needs to be tilted to the side, or it's a state document where it needs a specific color background in the back. Usually these photo process companies are acting in capacity or in concert with the mill operators, and they will get some form of kickback not only from the customer who's paying to have the photos done, but from the actual mill operator.
The next step up on the organizational chart is the runner.
The runner in the organization is primarily somebody who's trusted a little bit more than the person out on the street selling the documents. The runner will basically go to the location of the selling, pick up any document orders from a pre-designated drop spot. The vendors might not even know who he is.
The runner will also return the finished products so the street dealer can complete the transaction. The mill operator maintains the equipment, procures the supplies, and either makes the IDs or oversees the manufacturing. At the top of the chart, but perhaps lowest in visibility, is the leader or boss, who is the brains of the operation. He provides the financing, the mill location, and recruits the other players.
Enforcement details can be handled in many different ways. It depends on the size of the agency and the staffing that's available and the manpower at the time. Many agencies choose to handle street dealers the exact same way they would handle narcotics dealers. They will actually go out and make a few buys, introduce an informant, or they could actually go in themselves and try to do cold buys, which is basically where nobody's introducing them. They are just going in and trying to make those purchases. Sometimes patrol may decide that they just want to go and do what's called a buy-bust, where they will actually come out, set up a detail, go make one transaction, and once they receive those documents back that they purchased, they will immediately effect an arrest. Other times, if they determine that these type of cases are of a much larger scale and they have the staffing and resources available, patrol can decide to set up what's called a long-term sting, where they make several purchases and they will track and follow the suspects wherever they go to determine the hierarchy of the organization, as well as how the organization is actually operating and how large the scope of the operation is. In many cases, patrol or detectives would want to contact whatever agency's documents were being counterfeited to see if those agencies can assist. There have been occasions where not only state but federal documents were being counterfeited, and all those agencies were brought in to facilitate a larger enforcement operation.
A quick arrest for a simple counterfeit document without proper notification to other agencies or other investigators can result in large-scale criminal conduct going uninvestigated. We do not want that to happen.
Some common types of contacts for officers involved in patrol activities or detectives are the street dealer at the street level, a vehicle stop, which possesses a mobile lab inside the vehicle, a call for service, or a hotel check.
As an ABC investigator, commonly we see a multitude of persons under the age of 21 in possession of fraudulent or counterfeit documents. Once we make contact with them, we do our best to try to roll them over and work the case either in an undercover capacity or through the use of a cooperating individual. It's not uncommon in a month for a busy bar to get as many as 100 to 200 different fake documents.
When patrol officers come into contact with somebody with a counterfeit document, those officers need to immediately be able to recognize the potential of what they have in front of them, the fact that the documents are not valid, and the possibility that the subject they're dealing with is not the person that's listed on the face of any card or ID. Oftentimes when patrol comes into contact with a subject, they aren't sure who these people are, and many times when the document is presented to them, they just believe it's genuine and authentic. If a patrol officer recognizes that one of these documents isn't real, they really need to clamp into this investigation to determine who the subject truly is and why the subject is in possession of a document that's fraud or fictitious. When an officer recognizes they do have a counterfeit document, they need to be able to articulate what they found in a police report and explain to the prosecutor why they knew that this document was fake and all the elements of the document that they knew were not original or valid. Oftentimes, patrolmen will just put down in their report, I determined that this document was a counterfeit, when in fact that's not sufficient for a prosecution of the subject. They need to have the expertise and experience and be able to articulate what the problem was with that document when they present that report to a prosecutor.
There are many enforcement codes you might use in counterfeiting cases. This is a list of some of them.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Can I get a copy of your driver's license and your registry? Thank you. Look, the font's not matching up. This one, what room is he in?
They're in 115.
What car did he show up in?
He's driving that silver Toyota.
Okay. Can you run this DL for me?
Sure thing, partner. 50 Paul 1.
Control to 50 Paul 1, go.
Can I get a local and NCIC check on California DL David 374-3610?
50 Paul 1. 10-4 on David 374-3610. Stand by.
Do you know if he's still in the room right now?
I'm not sure.
And is anyone else with him?
I've seen a girl with him.
Okay, what does she look like?
She's like my height with short brown hair.
Okay. And that's what he looks like right now?
Uh-huh.
Control to 50 Paul 1 on David 374-3610. No DMV record on file. Subject clear. No local and NCIC wants.
50 Paul 1, 10-4. Should you copy that?
No record. Can we keep this?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go check it out. Hey, partner. Looks like they got some stuff for making fraudulent IDs inside the car.
Okay. Hey, guy, come to the front door.
Sheriff's Department, come to the door. Sheriff's, hey, ma'am, I need you to step outside the room, please.
Step out right here. This way.
Just go ahead and step outside. We need you to come
Face
outside
the
for our
wall.
safety, please. Go ahead and let go of the door.
Just detaining you for your safety and mine. Okay, sit right here for me.
Is anybody else inside the room?
My boyfriend.
What's his name?
Chuck. Chuck?
Chuck, it's the Sheriff's Department. Step outside the room. Let me see your hands. Step on out, Chuck. Let me see your hands.
All right, coming out.
Go ahead, come on out. Let me see your hands. Keep walking. Come on out. Then walk over to my partner. Keep your
Come right
hands up
here.
where I can see them.
Right here. Face this way. Face that way. Hands behind your back. Spread your feet. Just detaining you for your safety and mine. Anyone else inside the house?
No, just me and her.
Okay, sit right here.
You got that, partner?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna clear the room. Sheriff's Department, anybody inside? Show yourself now! Sheriff's Department!
Hi, how are you?
Good, nice to see you again. Thanks
Nice
for
to
coming.
see you.
Hi. Hi.
What do you got?
Well, we did a DMV driver's license check for the people here at the hotel and came upon this one. It looks like the font doesn't match up. So came to make contact here in the room, and as we passed by the vehicle that this person's driving, noticed a lot of fraudulent documents inside the car, laminates and whatnot. Right. But actually inside of the room there's a large-scale operation. There's a lot of DMV driver's licenses, IDs, whatnot, and so thought we should call you guys.
Great, well thanks for calling. Let's go take a look. Wow, that is a lot of stuff. I think we should get a search warrant before we enter this one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, sometimes we might arrive at a scene like this. It can seem very complicated at first. What we need to realize is that we have a lot of resources that we can use. DMV investigators, for instance, this is the scene where they're the experts on, so we have to always remember to use our resources.
I've given you some tools to help identify some of the features that are in the driver's license and ID card, the magnifier and the black light. And there's also a pamphlet in front of you that will discuss a few more of the security features, some of the past ID cards and driver's licenses. Right now our department is currently in the process of redoing the driver's license and ID card, and that's part of the Real ID Act.
The newest California driver's licenses and ID cards have a completely different layout than previous ones. Adult cards are still in a horizontal format, but under 21 cards are laid out vertically. Under 21 cards also have colored banners with the years the cardholder turns 21 and 18 if applicable. A limited term indicator is shown for all cardholders who are legally present but only on a temporary basis. The last name is shown on the first line of the name field, the first and middle name and any suffix on the second line. The back of the card features 1 and 2D barcodes, as well as the cardholder's class, endorsements, and restrictions. Security features on the front of the card include a smaller grayscale version of the cardholder's primary photo, and a full-color ghost image that will be revealed by a UV light. Other information is printed over both smaller photos. Another UV feature is the cardholder's date of birth, printed over the primary photo. The date of birth is also printed across the primary photo with raised numbers that can be felt by touch. The signature is laser engraved with raised lettering, as well as another tactile date of birth elsewhere on the front. The back of the card also features a tactile date of birth with raised numbers.
The previously issued California driver's license is a Polo Dual. This was first issued in July of 2001 and issued into 2010. It expires 5 years from the date of issue. This is a credit card style driver's license that has information on the front and the back.
First off, the driver's license number is printed in red, while the words driver's license is printed in blue. On top of that, on the front of the card, you will find the driver's license number, the subject's photo, which will be on the left-hand side of the card for adults, and their ghost photo or smaller photo will be on the right-hand side of the card, license class, the expiration date, the subject's name, address, and personal identifiers, as well as their date of birth and their signature line. On the bottom of the card, you will find the date that they applied for the driver's license, the DMV field office number of where they applied at, and the technician that handled the transaction. For anyone under 21, there will be a provisional banner on the driver's license. A provisional banner with a blue bar indicates the year that the subject turns 18. A provisional banner with a red bar will indicate the year that the subject turns 21. Additionally, any persons who've been issued a driver's license under the age of 21 will have their photo on the right-hand side of the card, as well as their secondary or ghost photo will be next to their main photo on the right-hand side of the card. On the back of both the driver's license and identification card, you will find a barcode, which is standard, a slightly raised white writable strip that they can put their change of address on, as well as a magnetic strip that wraps around both edges of the card.
The information and layout of the California identification card is the same as the driver's license, except the words identification card appear in green instead of driver's license in blue.
On our previously issued California driver's license and identification card, we have some common security features. The first security feature is our ghost image. This is a smaller image of the primary image of the photo on the card. This image will be lighter in color and should not be as distinct as the primary photo. The next is your current fonts. This should not be a typical commercial grade font that's out there for everybody to use. If you have any questions on looking at the fonts, pull out your own driver's license and compare to the driver's license that you're looking at of the suspect. The next is microprinting. There is a microprint line located up in the blue DMV header logo at the very top. Most people can see this, but a magnifier will help distinguish whether or not this is a true microprint line.
Optical variable features on a California driver's license or identification card can be detected by simply holding the card up. As you tilt it to let the light reflect off of it, you'll see the seal of California kind of shift from a grayish green to a gold as the light reflects off of it, and it's a real good indicator if you're looking at a valid card or not. Utilizing a black light, you can illuminate the identification card or driver's license, and you should see the California state flag represented across the bottom of it. You'll see the red outline of the California flag, the brown for the California bear, standing on a green patch of grass. All three colors are crisp and unique from each other. You'll see this on some counterfeits, but you'll see the green isn't as crisp as it should be, or it doesn't reflect at all. Some of the better counterfeits will show the California flag, but as the license gets older or more worn, they'll start to fade away, and you'll see an imperfect seal on there. Very indicative of a counterfeit.
Also on the card, you have two overlapping features. In the center of the card, you have the state seal. The state seal will overlap the bioinformation located on the card. This is the name, date of birth, and address. Located in the background of the card are what we call guilloche printing. These are the red concentric circles that will overlap the photo and any other information that's on the card. This will not overlap over the center state seal.
The Department of Motor Vehicles IDs and DLs are a very sophisticated card. If an officer or a detective can take their thumb and wedge their thumb in between the card and separate layers within that card, that's an obvious indicator that that card is fake or is counterfeit. The license and IDs that the DMV produces are one solid document and are of high quality grade. There is no way that you can get one of those documents to separate.
The Department of Motor Vehicles teaches the acronym FLAG, to feel, to look, to ask questions, and there are a multitude of different questions you can ask related to where they got the driver's license, what their address is, what their sign is, what their driver's license number is. But one of the best things to ask, if you're pretty confident that the driver's license or the ID card is true and valid, but just not the person who's standing there in front of you, you can ask them to sign their name 3 times. I can guarantee that they may have all of the information on the driver's license memorized, but I don't think they're a handwriting expert to the point where they can legitimately sign the name as it appears on the ID. And finally, the G stands for grab or give back. If you grab it, you can legally seize the ID, and chances are you're going to be making an arrest or issuing a citation. Or if you feel that you don't have probable cause to arrest or to seize the ID, then you can give it back to the person and have them go on their merry way.
Another important thing for officers to realize is that with the proliferation of identity theft, when you see a driver's license, normally the assumption is, well, that's the person. DMV issued this license. I've determined it's not counterfeit, it's a valid license, so it's them. That is not necessarily true. There are thousands of people in California who have fraudulently obtained driver's licenses from us. The only way to find out for sure is to contact a DMV investigations office in your jurisdiction and have them run that driver's license number and that name through our case management system to see if we have an open investigation on it.
The interim license or the learner's permit is printed out on DMV paper. This document is not a valid proof of citizenship or identity.
The Department of Motor Vehicles issues what's called a photo receipt during the testing process. And the reason we issue that photo receipt is so that the subject can be identified by anyone that's examining that person from the actual written test to the drive test and recognize that the person that is taking the test is the person affixed to that license. DMV has also determined that in some instances those documents have been counterfeited. For that reason, the photo receipt says this is not an ID. So we encourage that patrol officers recognize that it's a potential factor of who the subject may be. However, based on just that piece of paper, that is not a valid form of identification.
When it comes to driver's licenses and identification cards, there are many code sections that might come into play, including vehicle codes, penal codes, and business and professions codes.
Looks quiet out here. Yes, it does.
44 Mike responds to Lake Park, southeast corner of Park. Citizen reporting 415 male and female drinking beer on a picnic bench.
10-4 control. We're in that area right now. Sounds like it's this area right here. Yeah, I think we're in the right area. Maybe around here somewhere.
Tecate.
It's good beer.
Do you know how to speak Spanish? Oh,
I took a spat.
there's the cops.
Oh, man.
Good job. Nice,
Yep. You cover it?
nice
Sounds
little
good.
picnic you got going on over here
Yeah, I know.
in a public place.
Don't worry, I'll take
It's
care
all
of
your
it.
fault.
I'll take care of it.
I'm not bailing you out if you go to jail. Just to let you
Don't
know.
worry, I'll take care of it. Have everything under control.
Hey, how you doing?
There you go. You an officer?
Yeah. You want to step out off the bench for us real quick?
Sure.
That's good. Go ahead and stop for me right there. Go ahead and turn around for me real quick. I'm going to go ahead and pat you down.
Go ahead and stand up for us.
You have anything on you shouldn't have?
No, I don't.
All right, put your hands behind your head for me. Just going to pat you down, okay?
Okay.
Spread your legs for me a little bit. All right, that's good. Go ahead and put your hands down.
Okay.
Do you have any ID on you?
Yes, sir.
Let me see it, please. I notice you have another ID on there. Can I see that one?
Yeah, here you go.
Okay, what's your last name again?
Wong.
Wong. And what's your date of birth?
November 2nd, 1975.
Okay, why do you have two driver's licenses?
I didn't like my old picture, so just got a new one.
So you just didn't like your old picture and you got another one?
Yeah.
Okay, do me a favor. Step on back just a little bit
Okay.
towards that bench. And go ahead and turn around for me, please.
That doesn't make sense, man.
See that partner?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. They look good. Oh, that training we had, what was it, yesterday?
The DMV investigator?
Yeah. Talked about the material they're made with. Well, that seems right.
How about the strip on the back? You remember the back strip?
That's right. The fake ones doesn't wrap all the way around. These wrap all the way around.
Holograms, are those there?
Yeah, it goes from green to gold. Green to gold. That's good.
Hey, do you remember that little tool he gave us? Little black light?
Oh, that black light? Yeah.
Give that a try. See if it has the little California bears going across the
I don't know if we'll be able to see it in the daylight. Yeah, right there it is. This one's good.
Try this one.
This one's good too.
He doesn't seem too nervous.
No, he doesn't, man.
You know what? Why don't you see if you can run him or I'll talk to him.
Sounds good, man.
Okay. Mr. Wong, go ahead and turn around for me.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, Mr. Wong?
Just having a drink. Nice day outside.
And who's the young lady you're with?
That's my girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
2 Cal-Ops.
You come to the park often, have beers
Ready to copy.
here, or what's going on?
When we can.
Oh, okay. And the backpack, is that your backpack?
That's my girlfriend's backpack.
First.
Okay. How far do you live around here?
Not too far.
451.
Okay. You been arrested before?
Know when you're ready, copy second.
For drinking.
Okay, you on probation, parole, or anything like that?
No, nothing like
Okay.
that.
I'll tell you, my partner's going to check your driver's licenses, make sure everything's valid. If everything's good, you'll pour out your beer. We'll verify you don't have warrants, you and your girlfriend here.
Okay.
We'll give you a ticket and you'll be on your way.
Okay.
Okay? So it'll just be a few minutes and we'll be done with you. Are those still full?
No, I'm almost done.
Okay.
Cal up with Adam 8977451 in the name of Felipe G. Show suspended, revoked. Second Cal up. Valid.
Take it, do it at home,
Simple.
do that stuff
Copy.
somewhere else. And you won't get any more tickets for that.
All right.
Okay?
Do it again
All right.
when you get a chance.
Do me a favor, go ahead and turn around, leave your hands in your pockets for me.
Okay.
Thanks. What's going on?
You know what? Dispatch, according to dispatch, these are both valid documents. However, this one is suspended and or revoked.
Okay.
Got his picture on both and different information. We just got to figure out why.
Okay. Let me talk to him, see what he says. Mr. Wong, go ahead and turn around.
All right, officer.
You have two different driver's licenses here?
Yeah.
And they both have your pictures on that. What's going on with that?
I just used my brother's driver license. I got used information with the DMV, get a new driver license. He moved out of state. I haven't seen him for 2 years.
So let me get this right. You're using your brother's information on your driver's license that you obtained, and
Yeah.
he's out of state, and he doesn't know this?
Yeah, he doesn't use it. I mean, I need a driver license to drive, just an ID.
Oh, okay. All right, do me a favor. Go ahead and turn around.
Am I in trouble, officer?
Just a little bit. Go ahead and put your hands behind your head.
So you already searched me, officer.
Yeah, this is going to be real quick. You're under arrest, Mr. Wong.
For what?
And that's for impersonating, 529 PC.
It's just an ID.
Okay, it'll be just a minute here. All right, let's run that ID from that guy that was drinking in the park.
Okay.
Chi.
There he is.
Yeah, that is him. So this first one's good.
Yes, it is.
That's a valid one. Let me try the second one.
There he is again.
Wow, that is him.
That's also good.
And this is his brother's information.
Well, at this point in time, we know we have him for impersonation, the 529.
Yep, he admitted that to us.
Well, you remember the other day we had the training with the DMV investigator, something about the DL-44.
Oh, that's right, because when he signs that application, it says it's under penalty of perjury.
That's true. At that point in time, we have him for 118.
Yep, that's right, for perjury. And then, you know what I was just thinking? 459, burglary.
How's that?
Well, because he went into the DMV with the intention of defrauding, which is a felony.
That makes sense.
We just have to explain it on a report, but I think we'd be fine with it.
I think you're right. Those three sound good to me.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
Be very observant. It's important to see when you're talking to individuals, not just look at their eyes, their hands, but what they're reaching for. This particular case, I looked inside his wallet and observed 2 driver's licenses. I asked him to remove them. Based on that information, it continued our investigation, and it turned a simple detention for drinking in public into a felony arrest. Down the road, that may lead to even more of an investigation, depending on what we come up when we're back at the station and with detectives.
With the Department of Motor Vehicles California titles, there is several versions out there. The latest version was updated in 2002. The title is 8 inches in length. The inside of the title is pinkish background. This will bleed in and out of the colors, going from darker to lighter in the center of the document and then back to the darker on the outer document. You do not want to see distinct lines of color on this title. The information printed on the title, the VIN, registered owner, this should all be of the same font and the same spacing in between the characters on the lettering. The California titles also have a pre-printed serialized number on it. This is a sequential number for tracking purposes within the California Department of Motor Vehicles. On the titles, there's also the state seal. This is what is called a reverse image of the state seal.
One of the security features is if the document is copied, it will say void once that happens. Also, there is a portion where the odometer statement is, in that if someone tries to tamper with that section, there is invisible printing that will pop up if that takes place.
Also on the title, you want to look for what we call a watermark. This is an image that when you hold the title up to a light source, that you'll be able to see the bear located in the center of the title. This image should not be seen when you're holding the title down in front of you looking at it at a straight view.
One of the other security features is a banner. It will say void without bear watermark, and that's printed on the left and the right side of the document.
When reviewing a vehicle title, we highly recommend that you just read what the title has to say. Oftentimes, counterfeiters misspell words as well as misspell vehicle makes and vehicle models, and in many events, don't even put the license plate into sections they belong.
Another thing to look for is a title that could be altered. This is called a washed title, where they've taken the information, either the VIN, the year, or the make of the model of the vehicle, and removed that information and replaced it with what another vehicle that they may have in their possession.
When officers make contact with a vehicle and they want to determine if the reg sticker is valid for that vehicle, oftentimes all they need to do is ask for the registration paperwork with the vehicle. The number on the registration sticker is also on the registration paperwork for the vehicle. If the subject operating the vehicle does not have a registration paper from the DMV inside the vehicle, the officer can actually take the number that is on the sticker and contact DMV's law enforcement help desk, and they can run that sticker and tell the officer or the dispatcher what vehicle that sticker should be affixed to.
The information located on the registration card with the vehicle should match the vehicle that it belongs to. You want to look at the make, the model, and the VIN number. Also, is the person driving the vehicle the registered owner or the legal owner?
If officers suspect that those documents are fraudulent, they need to go to the actual VIN of the vehicle and run that through their dispatcher or through the DMV database. DMV has found that there are subjects out there doing VIN switches and cloning vehicles and creating false or fictitious registration stickers and registration cards. Officers need to look at every number they can find on that vehicle to determine if it matches, as well as to review the registration card, which oftentimes will have misspellings involving the registered owner, the company, and the vehicle makes and model types.
You have 3 types of license plates. You have a vehicle license plate, commercial plate, and a trailer plate. A commercial plate will typically be on a truck, a van, something that could be used for work. You will not see these plates on a regular car.
A lot of times people will use license plates to cold plate another vehicle, which means the vehicle they're driving is stolen, so they have a license plate attached to it that belongs to a vehicle that's not stolen. So by recognizing the fact that, hey, this is a passenger car license plate on a commercial vehicle, you may have stumbled on some criminal activity. There are 2 types of trailer plates. One of them is a permanent trailer, and these are issued to trailers that are hauling materials or boats, and there are no tags on these plates. They say permanent trailer on the top, and there are no tags. The other trailer plates are usually for trailers such as large semis pulling the trailers. They will have a trailer plate, and motorhome or RV type trailers will have plates with tags on them.
These are the 3 code sections that most often factor in with titles, registrations, and license plates.
Hello, sir. I'm Officer Nunley from the River City Police Department. The reason I'm stopping is because you went through a stop sign back there. Do you have your license, your registration, and your proof of insurance with you?
Yeah. There's that.
Thank you.
There's a registration.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure where the insurance is at.
Okay. I noticed the vehicle isn't registered to you. Whose car is it?
That's a friend of mine.
Where's your buddy live?
I don't know the exact address.
Okay. .44 Mike, can I have a follow?
44 Mike, 45 Mike, copy and follow, 44 Mike on the stop.
Sir, is this your current address on your license?
Yeah.
Okay. I noticed the VIN doesn't match the registration. Is this an old registration or?
I don't know. Like I said, it's my buddy's. As far as I know, it's current.
Okay. Sir, you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have anything illegal on your person?
No.
Okay, do you mind if I check?
Sure.
Great. Step on out. Face away from me. Put your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers here. And spread your legs out for me. A little bit further. There you go. Hey, why don't you step back this way? Just have a seat on the curb. And put your legs straight out in front of you. Cross your legs. Great. Can you keep an eye on him for a minute? .44 Mike, 1028 on a VIN.
44 Mike, go ahead.
What's the problem, man? I didn't run the stop sign.
I don't know. That officer's going to take care of everything.
239.
This is bullshit, man.
44 Mike, that VIN returned stolen on a 96 pattern four-door out of San Diego.
Sir, put your hands behind your back for me.
.44 Mike, can I need you to transport?
10-4.
What's going on? What's the deal?
We'll talk about it back at the station, sir. Hey, partner, I'm going to pop the trunk. Look at all these titles. A bunch of titles, a printer, laptop. Even got blank titles. Looks like he was doing more than just possessing those documents. Looks like he's making them. I think it's important to remember that things aren't always what they seem. By digging a little deeper, you might be able to find a little bit more. I believe most officers would agree that arresting the driver of a stolen vehicle is a good arrest, but by digging a little bit more, looking at those DMV documents, you might be able to find just that little bit more.
Dealer plates are issued by DMV to licensees, licensed dealers from our department. They're registered to that actual dealer. The vehicle plates are used to utilize on vehicles in their inventory. They're to be placed on the vehicle like a normal plate. And when you're looking at the dealer plate, the number sequence that's on that plate is actually the occupational licensing number for that particular dealer. When you have a vehicle stopped and you want information about that dealership, your dispatch can run that dealer number and it'll show you if that dealership is still a licensed active dealer, if their license is still actually valid. And also, depending on the view you get from your CLETS terminal, it'll show you the dealership information, who's the actual owner, who's in the corporate structure. And that'll help you determine if the dealer plate is being used properly on that vehicle.
And it's not just vehicle dealers that sell new and used. It's also manufacturers, remanufacturers that also get these special plates issued to them. The dealer plate can be utilized on any vehicle that the dealer has in his or her inventory and can drive that vehicle anywhere they want 24/7. What they can't do is they can't put the dealer plates on vehicles that are personally registered to that dealer. They cannot lend their car to a family member. Those vehicles are for corporate officers and owners of the business. So if a line enforcement officer contacts a subject driving a dealer-plated vehicle, one of the questions they need to ask is, are you the owner or are you a corporate officer? This will oftentimes cut to the chase. If the driver has no idea what you're talking about, chances are they're neither one or the other and they're not authorized to drive that vehicle. Also, salespeople can use those dealer plates on vehicles when they're doing a test drive with a customer. They can also be issued a rental or lease agreement by the dealer. That rental or lease agreement will need to be with that vehicle when the subject's driving the vehicle, the salesperson.
Licensed dealers can utilize the dealer plate to, in a sense, issue to prospective buyers. They have to have a written agreement in the vehicle and allows a prospective buyer to, in a sense, test drive the vehicle for up to 7 days without having to register the vehicle.
Dealers are not allowed to have dealer plates on work vehicles, parts delivery vehicles, and other vehicles like that. And if a vehicle is going from one place to another, say it's getting gassed up at a gas station, there should be some sort of documentation associated with that trip that would let the officer know that that vehicle is going to a place and then back to another place for a specific time period. The dealer plate needs to be affixed to the vehicle. The plate can't just be merely thrown in the window and then that vehicle operated on the roadway. More often than not, you will see the plates affixed through some sort of magnetic means, or also it might actually be in the place where the DMV plates are normally placed on a vehicle. But in any case, they need to be affixed to the vehicle and not just thrown about or hung up somewhere.
When the dealer plate is on a vehicle being utilized, they're required to have a registration for that plate as well. Most dealers adhere it or tape it to the back of the plate. So normally, you'll ask that person, can I see the registration for this plate? 9 times out of 10, it's going to actually be taped to the plate that's on the vehicle itself.
The enforcement action is merely going to be, once you determine that there is a violation and it's not one of those subjects authorized to drive the vehicle, merely going to be citing for expired registration or no registration. In addition to citing the driver for the unregistered vehicle section, there is a section that specifically applies to the dealer for the misuse of the plates. If the dealer's present while the violation is occurring, then you would issue the citation to the dealer himself. That's a misdemeanor, and it's 11713J of the Vehicle Code. If the dealer is not present during the contact, the line officer needs to confiscate the plate and either conduct some follow-up so that they can prosecute the dealer for the misuse of the plates, contact the DMV investigator to help them in that process, or forward that information to an investigative district office that can do that enforcement for them.
TOPs, or temporary operating permits, are the red number tabs that are issued to DMV to allow you to drive your vehicle on a public road while your registration is being completed. The purpose for the TOP is to, again, something's missing from the vehicle registration to get completed, so it's issued to you to put on your car, so you can usually drive up to 2 months while you have time to complete whatever's missing. When you're looking at a TOP, the TOP is filled out with information on the date it was issued and the office it came from. You should never see a blank one on the window. We don't give them out blank.
The top includes a pre-printed prefix and serial number. Each field office is required to log the information and maintain the second copy of the top in the office for 2 years. A top, when looking at the DMV database, 99% of the time will either have what they call a transaction in progress, a TIP, a registration in progress, a RIP, or a suspense in progress, a SIP. Any of these transactions will be located on your printout when you run either the VIN plate or the license plate of each vehicle.
The report of sale is a document that's issued by a vehicle dealer when he sells a new or used vehicle. This is commonly seen as the strip of paper in the front windshield of the vehicle. This is issued in place of a registration or license plate. The report of sale is used so the vehicle can operate on the roadway until the buyer receives his plate or registration. So it is valid until that point. Also, it does expire 6 months from the time of the vehicle being sold.
The report of sale is primarily always filled out. Sometimes it receives sun damage and will appear to be blank. But the report of sale is not a document that's issued to the purchaser blank. Within that report of sale, you should see the dealer number from the dealer they purchased it from, and the vehicle information, the full VIN. All of that is put onto the report of sale to identify that report of sale was actually issued for that vehicle.
The department issues one-trip permits. These are for vehicles that need to be smogged or have the VIN verification completed.
The one-day permit is only valid for the day that it's issued. Commonly, this is photocopied or altered, which would make it invalid.
With TOPs, reports of sales, and one-trip permits, Vehicle Code 4000A is the pertinent section.
Disabled placards are issued to individuals that submit an application with a doctor certification that they have some sort of disability. Along with the placard, DMV issues a registration card, and it's required for them to carry both whichever vehicle they use to be transported to and from, whether it's the doctor's or shopping or wherever they're going.
There are 3 types of disabled placards or handicap placards that are issued. The first type is the temporary handicap placard, which is a red handicap placard. That handicap placard is stamped by the DMV. It's stamped with a month and a year. The second most common handicap placard that is issued is a blue handicap placard, and that handicap placard is good until June 30th of the designated year on that handicap placard. The third type of handicap placard that is issued is a license plate handicap placard. That license plate handicap placard will also come with a registration card. Some common abuses of a handicap placard include stamping the temporary handicap placard, the red handicap placard, with an extra year using a household hole punch. I've seen the regular blue handicap placards. They've been color photocopied and laminated so that they depict a legitimate handicap placard, but you'll notice the difference. The regular handicap placard has a matte finish as opposed to the glossy appearance of a laminated counterfeit handicap placard.
Many times officers will contact people in parking spaces other than disabled placard parking spaces or disabled persons places, because in many of the larger cities it is free for anyone with a disabled parking placard to park at a parking meter without paying that meter. Officers have the authority to contact those subjects to verify that they are in fact the person that are authorized to use that disabled person's placard.
The abuse of handicap placards is a big problem in every jurisdiction. The abuse of a handicap placard carries some of the heaviest fines in the vehicle code.
Officers need to be cognizant that if they find a person in violation of misuse of a disabled person's placard, it's actually a misdemeanor here in California. And in some cases, we have found that the person in the passenger seat is the one that lent that disabled person's placard to the operator of the vehicle when neither one of them were entitled to those placards.
Arizona driver's license and IDs are issued only to those that can provide proof of lawful presence. No one in Arizona is allowed to have a driver's license and an ID card. You may have one or the other, but not both.
Current Arizona driver's licenses and ID cards have a photo of the Grand Canyon. If the person is over 21 at the time of issuance, the information runs horizontally. For those under 21, the info is vertical. DLs have an expiration date, IDs do not. They're good until canceled or revoked. Photos are digitally printed, so if you run across a card where you can feel an edge to the photo, it's counterfeit. The number on the card is a customer number that is used for all documents for that person. So someone in Arizona can have a customer number even if they only have a car registered in the state.
The subject may present to you a Mexican driver's license or a Mexican credential. It may have a number written on the back, which they tell you is from Arizona Motor Vehicle Division. In fact, it may have that, but it is not a driver's license number or an ID card number. Once again, it's just simply their customer number.
The name on the card will be first, middle, last. DLs must have an Arizona address. IDs can have an out-of-state address. Both cards have a physical description and digital signature. The back of the cards have a barcode and a magnetic strip that contains all the info from the front of the card. The back also has the customer number, the issue date, and for DLs, the expiration date, the class, and any endorsements or restrictions. The security features for the cards include an optically variable feature that says Grand Canyon State and has the state outline in gold. The signature line is microprinted, and under a black light, the state seal will appear. If you shine a light through the cards, an outline of the state will appear between the photo and the signature line. Although Arizona's interim credential has no specific expiration date, it should not be needed for more than 10 business days from issue. It has no security features. Arizona titles must be notarized. If it is signed without notarization, it is void. Registration cards are the size of a business envelope and must be carried in the vehicle along with proof of insurance that has an Arizona Department of Transportation number. License plates before 2009 were embossed with 6 letters or numbers. Since 2009, they are flat with up to 7 letters or numbers. Vanity plates with up to 7 characters are offered, along with 50 different styles of plates, all with Arizona at the top. Black and white registration stickers with the plate number and month and date of expiration are issued up to 2 years in advance. Arizona issues both disabled placards and plates.
The Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles currently has 2 versions of IDs and DLs. The prior version was issued from 2002 to 2009.
Older Nevada cards have the name in reverse order and photo on the right. Those under 21 at date of issuance run vertically with the photo on the left. Photos and signatures are digital and both cards have expiration dates. The back of the cards have a 2D barcode along with license class, restrictions, and endorsements. The older cards have these security features: microprinting on the sides of the upper border. The left side has the person's initials and the last 2 digits of their year of birth. The right side has the DL or ID number microprinted above the issue date. Here's what's different on the newer Nevada cards. Pictured are 2 mountain ranges, a bighorn sheep, and an eagle. Photos are now on the left, and the name is stacked with last name on top and first and middle underneath. The back of the card has 1D and 2D barcodes. Security features on the newer cards include guilloche printing covering most of the front, and a ghost photo with laser perforations which, when lit from behind, outline the state of Nevada. On all cards, the eye color overlaps the ghost portrait, and on minor cards, the height also overlaps. Nevada issues interim documents good for up to 30 days that have no security features and are not valid for identification. Nevada has several versions of valid titles. No notarization is required, and title info is available via teletype. If registrations are obtained in person, online, or via the mail, they are 8.5 by 11. Those obtained at kiosks are longer, narrower computer printouts. Registrations must be carried along with proof of insurance. Nevada has older embossed license plates as well as the newer flat ones. There are currently over 30 styles of plates, including vanity plates, with normal plates consisting of 3 letters and 3 numbers. Cars with a place for a front plate are required to have one. Registration stickers show the month and year of expiration and have either the license plate number or a number linked to the plate. Nevada issues handicapped plates and placards. Both require an authorization letter to be carried.
Oregon issues a driver's license and identification cards. They are valid for 8 years. They issue one or the other, but not both.
Since 2008, proof of legal presence and Social Security number verification have been required for Oregon driver's licenses and IDs. Beginning in 2010, Oregon started issuing limited term cards to those visa holders with an ending date for their legal presence. Oregon has 3 valid card formats. The 2 most recent cards have a picture of the state capitol and the photo on the left. If the person is under 21, the photo is on the right, with the date they turned 21 and 18, if applicable, in a red border around the photo. Driver's licenses have a blue banner, commercial licenses have a red banner, and ID cards a green banner. Class, endorsements, and restrictions are on the front and back. The back also has a 2D barcode and digital signature. The most recent Oregon cards have 3 optically variable security features. The word Oregon in pink, blue, and green, the state seal appears over the photo, and the person's name appears under the card number. Also, the first letter of the word expires is in a different font. A fine line gradient on one side changes from blue at the top to red in the middle and yellow at the bottom. Oregon issues an interim card, good for 30 days, that has a black and white photo, shows the word void when copied, and has UV-sensitive threads in the paper that show up under a black light. A 90-day interim document is available when legal presence or Social Security numbers cannot be quickly confirmed. It has no photo or security features. Titles in Oregon have been 8.5 by 7 inches since 1978, and in their current format since 1992. Security features include a chain link watermark, paper that reacts to chemicals commonly used to wash documents, erasure-sensitive ink on the odometer readings and signature lines, and microprinting on the top signature line. Oregon registration cards must be carried in the vehicle but have no official security features.
The title number is printed on the registration document. The first two numbers of the title are the year in which it was issued. So, for example, you stop a 2007 Honda and the title number is 05. That would lead one to believe that maybe there's something wrong with the documentation.
Several different types of plates are issued, some embossed and some flat. Registration stickers are good for up to 4 years, and the number on them may or may not be printed on the registration card. Oregon issues disabled placards with terms similar to other bordering states.
(753) traffic.
753, go ahead.
Arizona personalized. India, November, Delta, November, Mike, Charlie. It'll be 100 block of Bergner.
10-4.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Officer Wharton with the River City Police Department.
Hi.
I stopped you for speeding in a residential area. May I see your driver's license, your registration, or your proof of insurance, please?
Sure.
Who's the car belong to, sir?
My cousin?
Your cousin, where's your cousin live?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, sir. Go ahead and put your hands on the steering wheel. I'll be right back with you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
(753) vehicle check and license check through Nevada.
753, go ahead.
753, the VIN for the vehicle is 1 Charlie 3 Lima Delta 45 Kilo 58 November 675027. Break for the Nevada license check. 753 continuing, the Nevada driver's license number is 1603324881. Should come back to a last of Alexander.
753, Nevada DMV is down. Your vehicle's registration is current through Arizona on a 08 Chrysler Coupe.
753 copy, thank you.
What do you got, partner?
Hey, partner, I stopped this guy for speeding here in this residential area. He gave me this Nevada license and an Arizona registration. Vehicle's not registered to him, and the license that he gave me is kind of coming apart here in the middle, and it doesn't have the microperforation ghost image of Nevada.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go up and get him out and go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay, sir, I'm gonna have you step out of the car for me. I'm gonna have you step out. Just come on out. I gotta check you for weapons. Go ahead and stand and face the pillar there.
Check me for weapons? What are you talking about?
Go ahead and put your hands behind your back for me.
What are you? Why are you doing this?
Spread your feet. Just let me take care of this business.
Yeah, well,
you don't have any weapons on you, right?
No,
Anything
I don't.
that's going to hurt me?
Can't you take care of the business and answer my questions? Can you walk and talk?
I'm conducting an investigation, sir.
Right
Okay?
now?
Go ahead and step back towards my voice.
An investigation into what?
Okay.
What are you investigating?
One thing at a time, sir. Have a seat here. Have a seat on the curb. Put your hands on your knees, cross your ankles, and kick your feet out.
What is the problem, sir?
Sir, the problem is the license that you presented to me from Nevada is missing some security features that I'm familiar with. Is there a reason why they're missing some security features?
I'm not aware of them missing any features.
How long have you had the license?
A couple of years.
Where'd you get the license from?
The state of Nevada.
From an office or where?
Yeah. Isn't that, I mean, you have to go into the office to take the test and the picture. So.
Okay, sir. All right, do me a favor. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back. Palms together.
Are you arresting me?
Yeah, I'm going to place you under arrest, sir, for possession of a fake out-of-state driver's license, okay?
Good luck with that in court.
Okay. Okay, partner, go ahead and call for a tow and a transport unit.
44 Mike, can we have a tow truck and a transport unit, please?
10-4.
Oh, hey, look at that, partner. I have a license and it looks like a firearm.
Nice.
Well, this license doesn't match the one he gave me.
Run it up.
753, license check, and check for wants and warrants on the subject.
Go ahead.
753, last of McDaniel, Mike, Charlie, Delta, Alpha, November, India, Echo, Lima. His first name is Stephen with a V-E-N. His driver's license number is California Charlie 616-4754. His birthday is 9/6 of 67.
10-4, standby. 753, your subject returns as a parolee at large, armed and dangerous, out of Pine Valley. License number provided is expired but matches your subject.
No wonder he had a fake license.
Great stop, partner.
It's important for officers in the field to understand and familiarize themselves with the security features that are on driver's licenses here in California and surrounding states. These security features can tip them off and help them get a dangerous felon off the street.
As far as the federal government goes, there are many documents that they provide for identification purposes. The main one of these, which everybody who's legal in the United States has, is the Social Security card.
The Social Security card is not a sophisticated document in terms of overt security features, for the simple reason that it was never meant to be an identification document. That being said, for as simple as it is still very difficult to reproduce with any quality. Fake Social Security cards are not necessarily designed to fool law enforcement officers. They're simply designed to gain employment. And that being said, most counterfeiters don't try very hard to produce a real good quality fake Social Security card. The quickest and easiest test of the validity of a Social Security card is to check the signature line at the bottom. And you should see Social Security Administration in microprint. This is extremely difficult to reproduce with any kind of quality. The other dead giveaway on a Social Security card is intaglio printing. Intaglio printing is a process of raising the ink above the paper so that when one scratches one's fingernail across it, they can actually feel that it's raised above the paper, whereas most fakes are simply printed on paper.
A couple of other features that are present on the Social Security card are the perforated edges. This is something that the document vendors have also had a hard time duplicating. There's either too many of them or too few, or they just don't have them at all. Another feature is the name. It's machine printed instead of type printed. If the name's on there very crisp, it's a fake card. If it's on there a little bit blurred, it's most likely going to be a legitimate card. As far as Immigration Customs Enforcement goes, they provide multiple documents for identification purposes. One of these is the I-551, which is the resident alien card. There's also the I-766, which you won't hear it referred to as that, but it's the work authorization card. There's also the border crossing card, the reentry travel document, and the refugee travel document.
All U.S. produced immigration-related identification cards since 1997 share basically the same overt security features. Once you identify those security features in one card, you identify the features of all of them. That makes it immediately useful in the field. One of the most important things to look at is the quality of the seal. Every document has the issuing agency's seal, and it needs to be very crisp and very clear. Well, if you can't count the tail feathers on the eagle, as we say, it's not a valid document. Another important thing is to check for microprinting. Even though it's in a different location on all these different cards, The microprinting is present on every single card, and if you can't see it, it's a fake card. All of these cards also employ holograms across the front, that if it's missing or it doesn't look like a hologram, it's a fake document.
And all of them, whenever you flip the card over and look at the back side, they have laser etching that has all the presidents of the United States, including their names, and all the flags of states within the United States, which are all very difficult to counterfeit. In fact, every one that I've seen, they don't even use the flags, they use military symbols, X's and O's. Nothing looks right. And as far as the presidents go, not even close.
For agencies located away from the border region, it's important to note that the border crossing card has attached to it a 25-mile range and a 72-hour limit. If individuals are encountered in the state of California beyond that limit, they're out of status. That doesn't mean necessarily that officers can arrest them for being out of status, but it might facilitate a call to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. While all of these documents are very difficult to fully reproduce, they are covered by a thin laminate layer that, if peeled back, will destroy the optically variable features. Make sure that the document that you're holding has not been subject to a photo substitution.
One thing that you might encounter whenever you pull somebody over, they'll pull out an immigration receipt. This will have their alien number, their name, and at the top of it you're going to have something that either begins with LAC, LSC, WSC, and these are receipt numbers for the benefit that they've applied for. Now, one way that you could find out if they're faking who they are is called a local duty agent of whichever ICE office is in your area, and you could run this number. Because of limited resources at ICE with the duty agent, try to only do this if it's something that's absolutely necessary, if you have a violent offender or somebody who's involved in a serious crime.
Over the years, there have been many different versions of passports and visas produced by the U.S. government. While the arrangement of those documents is different based on the generation, the security features are virtually the same. Passports and paper visas are printed on a paper-like material, which subjects them to a particular vulnerability to alteration. It's not so common to see a completely reproduced page, but it is common to see a stolen passport with significant alterations to either the photo or the birth date. In some cases, passports and visas may be subject to a process called chemical washing, where all of the printed information on the face is removed by a chemical process and reproduced. In such cases, you can see the remaining shadow of the original type underneath the new information put over the top of it. Officers are also very likely to encounter foreign passports. Foreign passports are particularly problematic because there's no standardization of security features or appearance. That leaves you falling back on quality, quality, quality. And even that is only sometimes reliable. The important thing to remember when looking at a foreign visa or passport is to check the back for a U.S. immigration stamp that shows that they legally entered through a port of entry.
Another document that you might encounter out on the streets is the I-94. This is the arrival-departure record of the individual coming into the United States. Important thing to notice about this document, it has an expiration date. So if the expiration date is already passed, most likely they're out of status. Also on these documents, you're going to have a stamp showing that they entered the United States, usually. It's something that you'll see a lot whenever the person flies into the country, comes in on boat, or comes in from the southern border. One thing that's present on this document is an identification number that's listed at the top. If you have somebody who's a violent offender or involved in another serious crime, it might be a good idea to give the duty agent of your local ICE office a call, and they can go ahead and run this number to see if it is the person in question.
One of the common forms of foreign identification that officers will most certainly come in contact with periodically is the Mexican voter registration card. All things considered, this is actually a fairly good quality document, with many of the same overt security features that we incorporate in United States immigration documents. It's also a fairly good representation, usually, of the person's name and date of birth.
And one thing that is important to note, this is not a document that is recognized within the United States as a formal form of identification.
One of the prominent overt security features of the Mexican voter registration card is the Mexican Eagle national seal across the face of the card. This feature would be destroyed by lifting the laminate on the face of the card for a photo substitution.
A couple things to look for on this card is there's a list of numbers in the center of the card. Within that list of numbers, you will find the person's year of birth, their month of birth, and then their day of birth. A lot of people who counterfeit these documents don't realize that that's actually supposed to be in that line.
The Mexican consulate card, or matricula consular, is a document issued by the Mexican government for Mexican nationals living abroad. It conveys no U.S. immigration status.
Mexican consular cards are accepted in 33 states as a form of valid identification, including the state of California and numerous financial institutions. As of 2000, Mexican consular cards developed a new card, which was security enhanced. Up to date, there are 22 security features on a Mexican consular card. Unfortunately, some of those security features have been compromised and thousands have been manufactured counterfeit and are being used for criminal purposes as we speak.
The overall quality of the valid card is poor. In fact, some fake matricula consulars actually look better than legitimate cards. Because of the undependable nature of birth records in Mexico, even if you are looking at a valid matricula consular, that may not be a reliable identification of the bearer.
Another document that you might see out on the streets is a foreign birth certificate. This is a document that may or may not be legitimate. It's hard to tell because every country has a different format for these documents and they don't have a set standard of how to go about obtaining these things.
When officers are conducting enforcement details on a suspected counterfeiter, it doesn't matter if those documents are federal or state documents. The officer needs to outreach to any other agency that might potentially be a victim of such type of a crime and outreach to those investigators from those agencies to see if they can team up together and as a collaboration, because the more officers that are available, the more resources from the different state and federal agencies can be brought to the table to successfully conduct one of these type of operations. Officers need to recognize that sometimes they are looking at a federal document that's counterfeited in their local territory. However, the organizational structure, the criminal organizational structure, may be much larger and past their jurisdiction. So it's always important to contact any agency you think potentially might be involved where their documents are being counterfeited.
In cases involving federal and international documents, the same code sections we showed you in the counterfeiting segment apply.
Hopefully this is the final report of the day, brother. So, yeah, that's fine. Let's just go ahead and do it that way. And
42 Mike, dispatch.
Hey, I gotta go. I got a call. All right, bye. Go ahead for 42 Mike.
We received an anonymous call reporting some suspicious activity at 1457 Peach Avenue. This happens to be a neighbor reporting suspicious vehicle park in driveway of vacant house and signs of activity in the residence. RP adds that multiple vehicles are coming and going at all hours and suspects that it's being used as an alien smuggling drop house.
42 Mike copy. We'll be from 2nd and Peach.
10-4.
Later, I guess. Yep. You been here before, Bob? Yeah, I drove by here last week. It appeared vacant then. Yeah, it looks like the windows are boarded up. I'll go check the front door. Okay, I'll watch the side over here. Okay. Check out the back? Yeah, let's just check it out real quick. Side windows are still boarded up too. Yeah. Oops. Whoa, police! Oh, I got the front. Copy that. 42 Mike to dispatch. Give us the air. We've got a possible 459 in progress at 1457 Peach. Send us a couple units, please. Hey guys.
Another window off to the right? What you got? They guys told us a 459 suspects?
Yeah, Bob and I ran to this corner, saw a couple people pop into the house after they saw us. It looked like something fishy was going on. This house is supposed to be vacant. It's supposed to be a lot of foot traffic going in and out of this place, but it's a vacant house. Let's go check the interior.
Okay, sounds good. You guys got it?
Got it. On me.
I'll get that window behind you.
Copy.
Got it?
Got it.
Got it?
Stack up on me.
Ready?
Police department, anybody inside the house, announce yourself. Police department, anyone inside the house, announce yourself. No response, let's go in.
Okay, on you.
I got two. Police, show me your hands. Police, show me your hands. Come on out. Police, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Mira La Parade, get on the ground. That's it, guys. That's all I can see. Yeah, you got them, Joe.
Police, don't move! Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Slowly. Get on the ground. Knees first. Slowly. Walk yourself forward. Hands out. All the way out. 46 Mike, I have one at gunpoint out front.
Clear. You got them, Joe. We'll take the rest of the house. Coming behind you. On you, Tony.
I got an open door straight ahead.
Copy that. Got a closed closet door. Tony, you got the hallway?
Got it.
Tino, get the door. I got cover.
10-4.
I got 3 people inside. Police, give me your hands. Show me your hands. Put your hands up in the air. Up in the air, one at a time. Come out of the closet. Get against the wall. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Tino, I got them. Clear the closet. Do it.
Clear over here.
All right. Cuff up the door on the right.
Put your hand behind your back. Small your back. Thumbs up. Don't move. You understand? Put your hand behind your back. Small your back. Thumbs up. Don't move. Do you understand?
Hey, Sarge.
Bob thinks he's got a smuggler out front.
It kind of makes sense. The guy that Bob stopped out in front had all these documents on him. There are a bunch of different IDs from, they appear to be Mexico, California, some birth certificates over here. A lot of these IDs, or a few of these actually, match up the people along the wall. Those are the people we detained in the back of the house.
Okay.
Take a look at this one right here, though. This is clearly a forged or fraudulent identification card, not a real one. These items up here, when we were searching the rest of the house, they were found in the back bedroom. None of these Social Security cards or Mexican ID cards or clearly fake California ID cards match up to any of the people along the wall down here.
Okay.
This guy right down here, this is the smuggler. This is the guy that ran out and that Bob stopped. This looks like a valid California driver's license. And he also has this, what appears to be a valid permanent resident card too. The pictures match, it looks just like him. The information's the same. Something about that guy right back there. This is one of his, this appears to be his matricula consular card. Picture matches him. We've been trying to interview him, trying to speak Spanish to him. He's not responding either way. Doesn't respond to English, doesn't respond to Spanish.
Really?
The rest of the people along the wall are speaking a little bit of Spanish and we're getting some information from him. Something about this guy just doesn't really make sense. While I was standing over here, I read off his name loud and he didn't even flinch. So I think this might be fake. I'm not sure. We might need to call in some other help on this. But a lot of this stuff does look to be fake or fraudulent. Something's going on though.
Okay. You know, this sounds like it might be a really good case for ICE. Maybe we can call their field office and see how they want us to handle this.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'll get on it.
Okay, sounds good.
You going to the game this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did you get a ticket? Uh-oh, here's Sarge. What's he want?
Hey, Sarge.
Guys. Hey, Sarge.
Caught you eating lunch, huh?
Just finishing up paperwork, Sarge.
Yeah. So get this. Remember that drop house you guys took down a couple days ago? Remember that guy that was kind of making the hair stand up in the back of your neck?
The bald guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Turns out the guy was on the terrorist watch list. They got a fingerprint hit on him.
Get out of here.
Wow. So who knows what he was up to. So great job. I mean, who knows, you guys could have prevented something real serious. Excellent
Awesome.
work. I'm putting you guys both in for a commendation.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarge.
You bet. Got any fries left?
I do.
Catch you later.
See ya.
Good seeing you, Sarge. I think this helps to remind police officers and deputies all across the state that you need to double check and maybe even sometimes triple check identification that's given to you. With computers and all the technology out there these days, it's probably easier for bad guys to create fake IDs. So when you're looking at identification and you're not 100% certain that it is in fact a valid identification card or a driver's license, call in someone who might know a little bit more about identification than you. That may be a DMV investigator, even a federal agent like an ICE agent. They might be able to come on out there and help you with the identification that you have in your hands, which is making the hair on the back of your neck stick up.
Before we wrap up this telecourse on fraudulent and counterfeit government documents, we want to thank everyone who helped us put it together. Let's close with some final thoughts on government documents.
Look at the overall quality of the document. Quality, quality, quality. If it looks like a fake document, it probably is.
When an officer encounters a counterfeit document, we would like to see that officer review every detail of the document and try to make every effort to determine where that document was manufactured, to interview that suspect, similar to the way a narcotics officer would interview a narcotics suspect. The officer would go through it and try to find out where the purchase was made, who the manufacturer is, who the sellers and the dealers are, so that we can facilitate a successful prosecution and stop this activity from happening. Counterfeiting affects everybody, and we need to put a stop to it throughout the state of California as well as across the nation.
It's important to find out kind of the base behind the reasons why they are trying to shield their identity from you. Are they a narcotics trafficker? Are they a felon? Are they a parolee? Are they a child molester? Are they trying to smuggle people into the United States? Are they a terrorist? What are their ultimate goals?
On the street, we do not run across these counterfeit or fraudulent documents every single day. So we must remember to utilize all the resources that are made available to us in order to identify a person and get their true identity. Remember, it's not only your safety and the safety of your fellow officers. Worst case scenario, it could be the safety of a community. It could be a safety of a city or a state when we're dealing with the terrorist aspect. Make sure we follow all the proper procedures to know who we're dealing with, and make sure we call in the right, appropriate allied agencies to help us investigate these crimes.
You know, DMV investigations, it's been around since the 1940s, and for years, law enforcement has utilized us in assisting them with their investigations on anything from identity theft and fraud and vehicle theft to cold case files. You know, we're a great resource, and I just really encourage all law enforcement to reach out and utilize us as much as possible.
I had a field training officer that once told me that you always present the olive branches of peace, but be ready with the arrows of war in case things go wrong. And an officer needs to have that mindset when they're contacting somebody that has some sort of document that's concealing identity.